Have you ever wondered why you do the things you do? Why you remember certain events but not others, or why you feel drawn to some people and not others? Human behavior is a fascinating puzzle, shaped by a mix of biology, our past experiences, our feelings, and the people around us. Even our smallest actions, the way we talk, react, or choose, are guided by psychological forces we're often not even aware of. Today, we're diving deep into the hidden drivers of human behavior. These insights don't reduce us to simple formulas. They show just how incredibly complex and adaptive our minds truly are. One of the most mind-bending facts is that your brain is constantly making things up. That's right. Your perception isn't a perfect video recording of the world. Instead, your brain takes in sensory information and fills in the blanks based on your past experiences and expectations. This is why you and a friend can witness the exact same event and walk away with two completely different stories. And it's not just perception. Memory works the same way. Every time you recall a memory, you're not just replaying it. You're rebuilding it. And each time, it can be subtly changed by your current mood and beliefs. This explains why being super confident in a memory doesn't always mean it's accurate. Now think about the last big decision you made. Did you weigh all the pros and cons logically? You might think so, but chances are, your emotions were the real pilot. We like to believe we're rational beings, but research shows that emotions usually steer our decisions first. Our logical brain then comes in afterward to justify the choice we've already made emotionally. In fact, studies on people with damage to the emotional centers of their brains show something remarkable. Despite having all their intelligence intact, they struggle to make even the simplest decisions, like what to eat for lunch. Emotions act as our internal GPS, helping us evaluate risks, prioritize what's important, and give meaning to our world. Without them, we're lost. Here's something else we all share: a deep, fundamental need to belong. From an evolutionary standpoint, our ancestors' survival depended on being accepted by the group. That need is still hardwired into us today. Have you ever felt the sting of being left out or criticized? It turns out, social rejection lights up the very same regions in your brain that physical pain does. This shows that emotional hurt is processed just like a bodily injury. It's why loneliness can feel so intensely painful. On the flip side, strong social connections are one of the biggest predictors of happiness, resilience, and even a longer life. We are, at our core, social creatures. Have you ever walked into a room and felt like all eyes were on you? Maybe you spilled a little coffee on your shirt and were convinced everyone noticed. This is called the spotlight effect, the tendency to drastically overestimate how much other people notice our appearance or our mistakes. The reality? Most people are far too busy worrying about their own spotlight to pay much attention to yours. This bias can fuel social anxiety and self-consciousness. But understanding it can also be incredibly freeing. It gives you permission to stop worrying so much about what others think and just be yourself. The truth is, you're not on stage as much as you think you are. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Why am I doing that? Because the more you hear something, the more likely you are to believe it's true. This is a mental shortcut our brains use. Familiarity feels like reliability. It saves us the mental energy of analyzing everything from scratch. But this shortcut also has a dark side. It makes us vulnerable to misinformation. It's why rumors can spread like wildfire and why advertising relies so heavily on showing you the same ad over and over again rather than presenting a detailed, logical argument. Your brain is wired to equate "seen it before" with "it must be true." Let me ask you a question. Would you rather find $50 or avoid losing $50? For most people, the answer is clear. Avoiding the loss feels much more important. This is a powerful psychological principle called loss aversion. The pain of losing something is psychologically about twice as powerful as the pleasure of gaining the exact same thing. This simple bias has a huge impact on our lives. It affects our financial decisions, making us overly cautious with investments. It influences our relationships, sometimes causing us to stay in a bad situation just to avoid the loss of the relationship. It's a quiet force that often pushes us to play it safe, even when a risk might be worth it. We all love having choices, right? It feels like freedom. But what happens when you're standing in the cereal aisle, faced with 100 different boxes? Or scrolling endlessly through Netflix, unable to pick a movie? This is the paradox of choice. Too many options can lead to decision fatigue, anxiety, and even dissatisfaction with the final choice you make. You start to wonder if you picked the best one. Research has shown that limiting our options can actually make us happier and more confident in our decisions. Sometimes less really is more. Our minds prefer clarity and simplicity over an overwhelming world of infinite possibilities. Let's talk about something we all need but often neglect. Sleep. Sleep isn't just about resting your body. It's a critical time for your brain to do its most important work. When you're sleep deprived, everything goes haywire. Your attention span shrinks, you can't regulate your emotions, and your memory suffers. You're more likely to snap at someone, misread social cues, and make impulsive, poor judgments. Think of it as essential mental maintenance. Have you ever seen someone cut you off in traffic and immediately thought, "What a jerk"? But when you've had to do the same thing, you thought, "I'm so late, I had no choice." This is a classic psychological bias. We tend to attribute other people's actions to their personality, but we explain our own behavior based on the situation. This can lead to so much misunderstanding and conflict. Recognizing this pattern in ourselves is a huge step toward empathy. It helps us pause and consider that maybe the person who is late isn't irresponsible. Maybe they just had a really bad morning, just like we sometimes do. So much of what we communicate has nothing to do with the words we say. Our minds are incredibly attuned to body language and facial expressions. A slight change in posture, the direction of someone's gaze, or their tone of voice can completely change the meaning of a message. But here's the really interesting part. It works in reverse, too. The simple act of smiling, even a forced one, can actually make you feel happier. Standing up straight in a confident power pose can genuinely reduce feelings of stress and increase feelings of confidence. Your body can lead your mind. Finally, think about the power of a good story. Why do we remember the plot of a movie we saw years ago, but forget the facts from a textbook we just read? It's because our brains are wired for narrative. Stories engage our emotions, our imagination, and our sense of identity. They are how we make sense of the world, pass on our values, and shape who we are. This is why cultural myths, personal anecdotes, and even fictional characters can influence our beliefs and actions just as strongly as real-life events. Stories are the language of the human mind. So as you can see, our behavior isn't random. It's a rich tapestry woven from emotional signals, mental shortcuts, social needs, and ancient patterns. Understanding these psychological forces doesn't take away our individuality. Instead, it gives us a deeper insight into what it means to be human. It's a toolkit for better self-understanding, stronger relationships, and more thoughtful decisions in our everyday lives. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more dives into the mysteries of the human mind. See you next time.